So there's that. Let me end this on the phone. And you can see that basically what happens is there are these different parts of this company, Google, that have also the same problem. They've become invalid because they are corrupted, and but that's all right because I have multiple ones going and everything like that. But the worst thing about it is this DIN lane is it's either the DIN lane or it's this Acer laptop, and on the premise that the Acer laptop has had so many problems with just stopping all of a sudden, it's most probable that it's the Acer laptop. And all I can really do about that is try to get Amazon to return it and get another one. So, anyhow, back to what I was doing. When that all happened, I was trying to get a query that was failing. To find out why. Anyhow, yeah, I don't want any part of your illicit money that is forsaking salary. I think is the best explanation of how slavery becomes reality, and it's that you would want to give someone a bunch of money instead of having a salary process or a building of company and then revenue and profit and stock process that basically prevents the situation where you say, okay, I'll give you all this if you never do this, which is unconstitutional. It's forbidden. So yeah, I think you're crazy that you would think I'll give you $100 million or something like that. That's not how business works, and there's a reason for that. Alright, back to this. Now I hear, Andrew, I'm sorry for what I've delivered, but I'm rightfully servicing me. Now I hear, either cut me now or fee the best part. Now I hear, fine, I give up. I lied about it to prove my apology. No one has ever apologized to me. Not one person regarding any of this. Now I hear, I give up to you. They cut us way forward. Now they're saying, I surrender, I fee people who believe me. Now I hear, I didn't have any celebrity. Oh yeah, this is where they tell you. And if one of us dies, you're going to have a felony. You know. And then you look at the number of people, right? You look at 100 million people employed, and then you look at all the company owners, like the Mark Zuckerberg, all the richest people. None of them have felonies. But they say, oh yeah, we're here in the courts, and if you want to be free, you need to have a felony. If one of us dies, you have a felony. I mean, that's what it sounds like. And then, you think that's insanity. There's 100 million people employed. There's not anywhere near that with felonies. And the whole premise of, like, oh gosh, is, oh, that means you're of a nation. So like these people in the court system, the military is not the felons. That's not the same system. But they try to convince you of that, in hopes that you'll do something wrong and then become that, because then you lose your ability to travel to other nations, you lose all kinds of things. Nobody will employ you, all of that. And then they'll say, oh, we just wanted to make you a juvenile so we could illicitly give you a new identification card while at the same time taking your DNA. And none of it's actually said, but it's just how it seems and what it sounds like. But the whole thing's just preposterous. Society would never function that way. There would be no justice. I had where it sends the last activity update of a query to the interface inside a condition that required it to be an insert query. So some of those were being shown that way, some weren't. Now they're saying it's many things before the most ridiculous one, but they're saying, I understand you when you're working, but we don't know what to do when you're kidding, which is ridiculous because I don't have two different states of being. If I'm involved in an activity, I'm focused on the activity. I'm not kidding. But they say that they don't understand that, and then they say, in our court we pay David. I don't even know what that means. That's what I'm hearing. That's what's being assaulted to me against my will. And I don't want to hear it. And I'm already certain that I don't hear it when I go to land that has a vast perimeter. And I'm certain that I don't hear it when I go to the ocean in a boat far away from anything else. And I've already said that. I said that before, some number of streams ago. I made that very eloquent and explained and everything. Now you can see that all of those are ending as expected, or being shown as ending, or ending anyways. There's creating a new account. It's all working. And now you can see much more reasonably what's happening with everything. Right, so this is creating the account, and then here the delete happens of this first file that's uploaded to .ds store, and then the insert happens of the file that's the .ds store. The existing unique happens first, but that query happens and works and whatnot, and then the insert query actually doesn't happen, and you can see that here's the length, there's no data in the read buffer, the main input complete is false, so it's the same problem. There's no data being sent to the query, and that's makes it much easier to work on, makes it much easier to see and understand. But then you'll add complexity to that, and you'll lose the ability to understand it. You need to rebuild something simpler, and then you just start in the console, start by text, figure out what you need, and then you go back to, okay, now I have this structure built, I can make that an interface, and that's it. It's just iterative development. It's not very difficult, as far as like grasping new concepts, but of course it's all built on having already grasped all the new, or understood, a better word, all of the new concepts, like waveforms, PCM data, how data is used and stored in a computer, how computer parts work, what parts of the software that runs the computer are, all of these things, what parts of the network are, what the software stack and all of those networking stacks are. Once you have all of that, you can get to the point where you can just sit there and work, because you already know all of that stuff. And from that point forward, it's really just working on things like this, moving data, and then building interfaces to look at the forms of those data, or that data, and solve what you need to solve in order to achieve your intent. And from there you can practically build anything. But so now, work on the next thing, and that's it. That's why I'm not really concerned about somebody doing more work, because if you are doing more work, then good. It's just another company that can employ people, and it's basically just another management situation to me, and it's obviously, why wouldn't you make everything different slightly just because of who you are? And yeah, great. To be more intelligent people. That's the purpose of business. That's why capitalism defeated fascism and communism and socialism and all those other insane ways of sustaining unintelligence. But yeah, all good. Now it works. At least, readable. Difficult to believe that I did all that before doing this, but it is what it is. And now I can actually have an easier time. Fantastic. So I'm going to back up the data, upload it to a few different places, and copy it to a flash drive, copy it to a few other computers, and cook dinner, like I already said.